I am going to invite you, if you are able, like not driving or anything, I'm going to invite you to turn on your cameras. I know, I know you're probably home, maybe PJs, maybe babies, dogs, cats, I don't know, iguanas, all the things. But I'm just going to invite you to turn on your camera and just allow yourself to be witnessed in this space, in this moment. And tonight we're going to be talking about confidence, and a huge part of confidence is doing that which feels uncomfortable. So if you are somebody who's rolling your eyes already, like, oh my God, I don't want to be on camera, this is your first assignment and it's okay. So again, I'm going to invite you, turn on the camera. If you have the babies, I have three, you all know that. They're probably going to come busting in, and that's all right. I'm still nursing one of them, probably going to come busting in, pulling my shirt down. It's totally okay. So yes, I love to see the faces and I love it. It brings so much more energy to our space. So welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to get started, and tonight is a super, super special. And Jackie said, Darcel, you're sharing music in the background. I'm not able to hear, not sure if you did it. Yeah, I was sharing, Jackie. Thank you for the message though. So tonight is so incredibly special. This is one of my favorite topics to share on, and it is about confidence. And in this day and age, confidence is it's a game changer. It is a deal breaker. If you have confidence in yourself, it does not matter what your mom, dad, partner, society, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. When we have confidence in ourselves that is unshakable, we can literally rule the world. We can rule our world. And that is the name of the game tonight and tomorrow night. It is about confidence. So I am going to, and for anyone who doesn't know, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you recognize the voice if you're on here from Peanut. So my name is Darcel Being. I am a radical self-love coach, and I specialize in identity reconstruction, which is a fancy way of saying I help beautiful women like yourselves find themselves. And I help you get out of your own way and create a life that you truly, truly deserve and desire. And I help you to enjoy life and not just endure it. So part of my calling is to connect with beautiful, amazing women and to encourage you all to see the beauties that you are and to unwrap your gifts and share them with the world. Because the bottom line is, we live in a world that is in pain. You probably know somebody in your life right now who is in pain, and you just might be carrying the medicine that is for them. But the first step is you are invited to give that medicine to yourself. And that's what we're doing tonight. Tonight is all about welcome to urgent care, basically. Tonight is all about giving yourself that medicine that comes from the trials and the things that you've gone through in your life and transmuting it into unshakable, unstoppable, bulletproof confidence. So with that being said, I am going to drop us into this space. And basically that's just like a woo-woo fancy way of saying, we're just going to take 3 deep breaths together. We're going to sync our nervous systems up. We're going to just take a minute to breathe into this moment, to welcome all of ourselves home. It's not going to be long. We're not going to chant unless you want to, which is totally cool. We're simply going to literally inhale through the nose. So, and then exhale out the mouth with a sigh. That's it. We're going to do that 3 times together. And science has shown that deep breathing removes 70% of toxins from your body. And not just that, science has also shown when you breathe together with other people and nervous systems are all connecting, we are able to sync up, link up, and literally be present for each other and with each other. So that is what we're about to do. If your babies are crawling around, totally fine. They can breathe with us. It's all right. So I'm just going to invite you to just close your eyes for a minute. Unless you're driving, do not do that. Close your eyes for a minute and just simply allow yourself to be present in this moment. We are not overcomplicating this. We are simply closing our eyes and welcoming all of ourselves home into this moment. We're welcoming all of the messiness, all of the frustration, all of the anxiety, all of the busyness today, whatever it is you went through to get here in this space. We're not judging it. We're not rejecting it. We're welcoming it. And we're just saying, in this moment, we're just being aware. Just take a minute. And I'm going to invite us to breathe in together. I'm going to count us down 3, 2, 1. And we're going to take a deep inhale through the nose. And then we're going to exhale out the mouth with a sigh. And we're going to do that 3 times. So let's go ahead and do that. 3, 2, 1. Inhale and exhale. We're going to do that again. 3, 2, 1. Inhale and exhale. We're going to do that one last time. Give it all you have, clearing your body of the stress of the day. 3, 2, 1. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Flutter your eyes open, you beautiful beings, and just welcome yourselves into this moment. Again, I am so excited. Today is day 1 of our 2-day confidence masterclass. And tomorrow night, it's the same link, same time. We're going to be doing another deep dive. And what we're going to be doing tonight, so many times when we talk about confidence, there are so many books, there are so many articles, there are so many master classes, there are so many courses on confidence. But here's the thing. So many times we jump feet first into a more confident you in 30 days. Watch this video and in 10 minutes, you will be the most confident woman in the world. And here's the thing. Before you can become more confident, the first thing the first thing we are invited to do is to unbecome some things. So if you decided you wanted to plant a vegetable garden and you went outside, and I have a vegetable garden and it got eaten by okay, that's random, by these bugs, but I was so sad because my squash got eaten. So you go outside and you decide, I'm going to plant a garden. And when you get to this garden, you see that there are weeds everywhere, as far as the eye can see. And not just weeds, there are thorns, there's poison ivy. There's all this stuff that you never planted. Right? So Michaela never went outside and said, hey, I'm going to plant some poison ivy. But maybe Michaela's mother or father, right? If you are the garden, maybe Michaela's mother or father, when she was younger, told her something like, you're just not as good as your sister or your brother. And this landed. This becomes a seed and it grows into poison ivy. It grows into thorns. It grows into weeds. And then maybe my good friend Tej, maybe she went out back and she's looking at her garden and she's like, what the heck? I'm allergic to asparagus. Why is there asparagus growing in my garden? Well, maybe Tej's aunt, maybe Tej went to her aunt's house when she was 5 years old and her aunt said, I just really wish your hair was darker. I wish it was lighter. I wish it was longer. I wish it was curlier. That's a seed that was planted into Tej's garden. Each and every person on this call, there are seeds that were planted in your life when you were a child. This is not up for debate. It's not like, well, no, this never happened to me. Well, no, every single person on this call in this world, there are things that were said or done or on a TV show. There are things that you witnessed as a child that gave you an idea, that planted a seed about who you are, planted a seed about your worth, planted a seed about what you are capable of. And here's the thing. So many times we go through life and we feel so stuck. Drop a 1 in the chat if at any point in your life you have felt like, what in the heck is happening? Like, I know that I'm capable of so much, but I'm so incredibly stuck. Look at the ones. I will drop a 1. Let me throw my 1 in the ring. I will drop a 1. I'll drop 2. I'll drop a bunch of 1s. To infinity. There have been times in each and every person's life where you literally, thank you, Kay, you joined me with all the 1s, where you have looked at your life and you know that you are capable of so much more than what you're experiencing. Is that true? You can even just nod your head. You can look at your life right now, I'm so sure, and you are aware that you are being called to play a bigger game. You are being called to show up in the world in a mighty way. You know, in your heart of hearts, girl, there is a song, there is a book, there is a blog, there is a designer clothesline, there is a childcare center business inside of you, and it wants to come out. However, you find yourself doubting yourself, judging yourself, criticizing yourself, not trusting yourself, making all the excuses in the world. And again, I know everybody on this call is an adult, but I really do not want to underestimate the effect that childhood has on each and every person in this call. The majority of you are from Peanut. So you know me from Peanut, the Being Well community, and the pods that I host. All this month, we have been doing a deep dive into mother wound, father wound, healing the inner child. And then last Monday, I shared the 4 types of inner child wounds that show up in your life. This is basically, we're going to weed the garden tonight. So bottom line, we're going to weed the garden tonight, and then tomorrow night, we're going to plant the seeds. In order for you all to soar in confidence that you know you're capable of, in order for you to show up in a big and purposeful way in your life, you are invited to start digging up the crap seeds that were planted by mommy and daddy. You may have had parents on here, like, let this land for you. You may have had parents that did the best they could do. I am not saying that. You truly may have had a mom who was a single mom, and she struggled and she worked all the time, and she was not able to give you the affection and attention that you needed. Here's the thing. Mom could have done her very best, and her very best could have wounded you. That's the bottom line. Mom could have said, the only tools I have are a hammer and a wrench. This is all I got from my mom. But she still could have beat you over the head with that. And our job as adults, we don't blame the child. You can't blame yourself for some of the toxic, negative patterns you have now. However, you can absolutely invite yourself into healing. So you are in no way, shape, or form responsible for what happened to you as a child, but you are 110% responsible for how you heal and show up as an adult. Let it land. Like, our lives, my life, your life, the lives of my clients, our lives will not change by chance. It's not going to happen. I don't care how much you pray, who you pray to, what you pray to, does not matter. Your life is not going to change by chance. It will only change by conscious choice. So before I launch in, I have to say, I am so proud of each and every one of you beautiful beings on this call. From my heart, I am so proud of you for showing up on a Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. I don't know, some of you might be other places. I'm so proud of you for showing up and allowing yourself to start gardening. This right here, this decision matters. This is one of the most important decisions of your life, because you are now saying, I am going to be a co-creator in the beauty that is me. I'm not going to just sit by and hope and pray and wish that things get better and that I become more confident randomly. But no, you're actually taking stock and responsibility in rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty in your garden. That absolutely matters. So we are going to dive right into 3 of the greatest confidence killers, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to do a little writing exercise, journal exercise. If you don't have your journal, grab it. And we are going to start weeding the garden. And again, tomorrow night, we're going to plant the seeds for greater confidence. And I want to say this, in our hour together, 45 minutes, obviously we're going to get someplace, but we can't get to our final destination in 1 session or 2 sessions. It's impossible. So I am going to be inviting you all into a deeper partnership, deeper work with me at the end of our call. You've probably seen me already post about Good Girl Rehab, which is a deeper work, and it's going to be expanding on what we go over today, which is how to detox from the mother wound and father wound. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I always like to throw it out there so nobody's like, what the heck? Is this a timeshare presentation? There are no surprises. I've just shared it. So that is out there. All right, let's go. Let's go. The number one, well, first and foremost, when you think about confidence, there are so many definitions of confidence. There's like, confidence means that When you walk into a room, darn it, you're better than everyone else. That's confidence. And then other people say, well, no, confidence is like this tiny little quiet thing inside of you. And it's this inner knowing, right? There's a zillion definitions of confidence. But the definition that I resonate with the most and that I use in my coaching practice and in my personal life, it is the feeling of trusting one's ability. That is the definition of confidence I resonate with the most deeply. The feeling of trusting one's own ability. So basically, confidence is trust in yourself. That is to me, one of the most concise and richest definitions, because it makes sense. When you think about confidence, or when you think of a lack of confidence, usually what you find, you do not trust yourself. You don't trust yourself to make decisions. You don't trust yourself in your relationship. You don't trust yourself to launch a business. You don't trust yourself to have more money. Usually at the root of a lack of confidence is there is a story from childhood. There is a story where mommy and daddy or auntie or grandma, where they planted seeds in you at a young age, and you were told by mom, you will never be as good as your sister. You were told it by mom, your hair it just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. I don't like your nose. I don't like your body. Why can't you lose weight? Why can't you gain weight? Why can't you perform better? Why can't you be like your cousin down the street? She's so amazing. Why can't you be like the girl on the news? As a child, seeds were planted. I want this to land for you, especially if you have kids. When you watch your children play, if you notice, kids are naturally confident. When they're like little, they explore, right? I'm not talking about in school, just like when they're little, they explore, they learn to walk, which obviously involves a trust in one's ability. They, toddle. Is that a word? Toddle? I think so. Look it up for me, Tej. Toddle, they toddle on their legs and they crawl and they reach for things and they pull things. Children are naturally confident. And it isn't until some adult comes along and starts planting seeds about who do you think you are to be so amazing? Who do you think you are? Who told you you get to shine bright? Who gave you permission to talk so much, right? As a kid, the stories I could tell. As a kid, I was always told, you talk too much. You're too loud, you're too wild, you're too extra, you're too much. And take that, family, because look what I'm doing now. So take that. Like as a child, you were told certain things about your personality. You just don't fit in. Why can't you be more quiet? Why can't you be more creative? Why can't you be smarter? Why can't you be better? Why can't you be more? And the story begins to play in your mind that I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not short enough. All of these stories start playing in your mind. And what we're about to launch into is weeding up the first story that is the major confidence killer in your life. And the first story, the first weed that we are uprooting is perfectionism. Perfectionism is one of the largest killers of your confidence. Let it land for you. Your desire to be perfect, your desire to write the perfect post has kept you from sharing some of the greatest, most encouraging, most inspiring posts that somebody out there needs to read. Your desire to have your hair slayed to the side in the perfect way with the perfect lighting and your skin looks perfectly flawless. Your desire to have this picture perfect life and child, right? That has kept you from showing up and connecting with other women who need your support. And the crazy part about it is that each and every one of us walks around wearing a mask of perfection, trying to appear perfect, when in actuality, none of us are perfect. Nobody, every single person has imperfections. And the moment you take off your mask, you literally give other people the permission to take off their mask. So when it comes to perfectionism, when you look at your life, when you look at your life right now, so many times the story with perfectionism is, well, It has to be done just right in order for it to matter. It has to look perfect, clean, clear before it will be important and valued. Oftentimes, you will find the root of perfectionism comes from childhood, where as a child, you were praised for performing the most. You were praised the most when you did things exactly right to a T. So if you got a B, you're grounded. But if you got the A, oh my God, we're going to celebrate you. You're amazing. Oh, wow. And you started learning as a child, in order to matter, I need to perform. In order to matter, in order for people to be proud of me, I have to show up perfectly. I have to do things perfectly. These seeds were planted, and then it grew into this garden where you're a prisoner. You feel like a prisoner. Type 1 in the chat if you've ever felt like you're literally a prisoner in your own life. Like, does that land for anybody? Have you ever, yes, my one's going in there. Like, I am a prisoner. I can't escape my own life. I can't escape my own skin. And those are prisons, Skyla. And sometimes you'll be like, oh my gosh, nobody understands me. Has that ever been you? Have you ever felt like, oh my God, I'm in a crowd, like, again, drop a 1 in the chat. I'm in a room of people. I'm at a party with my friends, and I feel like I'm alone. I feel like I'm alone in a crowd, and nobody in this world understands me. Nobody gets me. Nobody can really relate to me. Oftentimes you will find that this is a direct result of trying to appear perfect. What ends up happening is you create distance from your most authentic self and who you are portraying outward. So you wear this mask that says, I have the perfect kids, the perfect life, the perfect relationship, the perfect plan. My life is perfect. I am perfect. This is me. There's nothing wrong. Everything is great. And behind that mask, you're broken. Behind that mask, you are hurting. Behind that mask, you are praying that somebody will notice that you are suffering. But what happens is nobody can break through because we're wearing a mask. How can we be upset when people don't know us, when we're not even being the most authentic version of ourselves? And again, I used to do this all the time. I'd be so upset. I'd be like, oh, my friends are trash. They don't know me. You don't know me. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, duh, because you're not even being you. You're not being the real you. How can somebody know you? So with perfectionism, and I'm going to share solutions like, little things you can try and infuse in your life. With perfectionism, what you end up finding, the reason it erodes your confidence is you become critical of every single thing you do. When you are dancing with perfectionism, when you are allowing perfectionism to plant its seeds in your garden, you will walk by a tomato plant that's growing beautifully, that you worked hard on. You've been fertilizing it, you've been growing it, you've been spraying it, you've been keeping it out of the sun. And perfectionism will cause you to walk by that tomato and say, oh, but look at the okra. The okra is dying, it's shriveling, it doesn't matter, I'm a horrible gardener. There are things in your life right now that you do amazingly at. Every single person on here, you don't have to be like, well, I'm a 7-figure CEO. There are things in every single person's life on this call that you kill. You do so well. You're so good at it, but you won't even celebrate yourself because you're too busy criticizing all of the other things that you feel are wrong with you. Just imagine, like, again, if it's a garden, just imagine having that garden and your tomatoes are thriving and flourishing. And all you're doing is walking on top of them and squishing them because you're in a rush to get to the okra to criticize your terrible skills. This is the invitation with perfectionism. One of the best solutions that I have found personally and in my practice, trying new things that you are not good at, but you are passionate about. This is one of the greatest remedies for perfectionism. Trying new things that you are not good at, but you are passionate about. The moment you begin to try something new, the moment you step outside of your comfort zone and you decide, hey, I have always wanted to, I don't know, play hockey, but I'm a terrible ice skater, but I've just always loved hockey and I'm a perfectionist. The moment you decide, you know what, I'm just going to try. I'm just going to go to the hockey rink. I'm going to put on the skates and I'm going to just do it just because you literally start rewiring your brain to understand that not doing things perfectly is not the end of the world. And we can go so much deeper on this, but we're not on this call. But there is so much to be said about your ability to rewire your brain. Right now, I have an amazing group program going on, Fearless Femme. Shout out to the Fearless Femmes that are on this call right now. It's 12 weeks and it is transformation. It's so amazing. And the ladies that are in this group, we are doing deep dives on literally the ability and power, and not even trying to sound spiritual or woo-woo. We're talking about the science behind changing your brain. Science tells us that everybody's brain, you have the ability to like lean into, plug into, unlock neuroplasticity. That is the brain's ability to rewire and to build new pathways. The reason you're doing things that you don't want to do and you're sick of doing, but you can't stop doing, your brain, your literal brain, has created neural pathways for the patterns that you have programmed it with. But the good news is, like, for example, if you're a negative person, you know, it is what it is. If you constantly talk negative to yourself, you literally wire your brain to automatically jump to the negative. So someone could be like, hey, girl, and Michaela, I'm just saying you because you're like the first one on my screen. So I'm not picking on you. So Michaela could be like, someone walking down the street and someone's like, hey, Michaela, here's a big bag of money. If Michaela's brain is wired to lean into the negative, she'd be like, actually, this is not a big bag of money. This is more like a medium bag of money. Wow, people are such liars. So that's what people do out here, lying all day. It doesn't matter if it's a blessing. It doesn't matter if it's something to be grateful for. If your brain is wired for the negative, you will consistently seek out and notice negativity. But again, the good news is you have the power to rewire your brain. So with perfectionism, trying new things that you're not good at, but you're passionate about, actively rewires your brain. And it lets your brain know it is okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. I have an affirmation I live by, and it is, I am not perfect, and that is perfectly okay. I am not the perfect mother, God knows, and that is perfectly okay. I am not the perfect spouse, and that is perfectly okay. I am not the perfect friend. I'm not the perfect woman. I'm not the perfect person, and that is perfectly okay. So, number 2, one of the other greatest confidence killers, and this is what we're talking about, unbecoming, in order to become the more passionate version of yourself. The number 2 killer is, drum roll please, playing small. Playing small. This could be a course class on its own because y'all, this one had me. Playing small, oh my gosh. Playing small is one of the greatest confidence killers for women. Because you have men out here who are like super underqualified or unqualified, and they will show up in a room as the loudest voice every single time, and they do not care. They will be like, yes, I know all about women's bodies and women's rights. And it's like, but sir, you have no parts of a woman. How could you know what's better for my body than a woman? But women, we can come into a room and literally have a psychology, engineering, physiology degree, and we will sit in a room and just be like, well, I'm just gonna wait to, well, excuse me, the church finger. Excuse me, please, can I just say something? So many times in our lives, we are able and we are well equipped to contribute to the conversation, but because we are so afraid of people's opinions, we will play small. We will sit down and hide our light because we're afraid of blinding other people. And instead of us, realizing that if my light is too bright for you, you have the option of putting on sunglasses. Like if my light is too bright for you, you can move. But instead, society, parents, once again, This is what I'm talking about. Good girl rehab. We're talking about mother wound detox. When it comes to the mother wound, some of you right here in this room have had mothers in your life that have been jealous of you. Drop a 1. I know that's personal, but if that's you, if you have experienced your mother or aunt or a woman who is older than you or a teacher being jealous of you, it is one of the wildest experiences. I have one. I have experienced that, and it is, and resentment, absolutely, Tej. It is one of the wildest experiences where your own family, right? Mom or aunt or cousin, someone older than you, that you're like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be cheering me on because I'm a child. And instead, they're jealous of you. Oh, you just think you're too much. Eh? And it's like, I'm 3, ma'am. I don't know anything, please. And you have these resentments, these jealousies, where people will literally look at you and decide out of nowhere. Again, my girl Michaela, I'm using her because I see her. People will decide, Michaela, I don't like your, you know what? Those glasses on your face, you just think you're so pretty, huh? You just think you're just this pretty girl. And all of a sudden they start tearing you down because they are jealous of your beauty. And never once did Michaela say, hey world, I'm the prettiest girl in the world. She's just being herself. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that. Just being yourself. And people look at you and decide you're doing too much. You're being too much. You're being too extra. So what ends up happening when that seed is planted in your garden, to me, in my personal opinion, playing small is one of the most dangerous seeds, because what ends up happening, it stifles out every other gift you have. You can be the best screenwriter, actress, coach, business developer in the world. And because your mom told you when you were 7, you talk too much, you'll sit down in a room where there's an opportunity to be seen. And you'll just sit there and say, well, I hope someone notices me. I hope someone notices how amazing I am, because you were told as a child, you're doing too much. You talk too much. You're too loud. And I have found this, which again, this is why I'm hosting a good girl rehab. I have found that girls, women who associate with that term good girl, I was once upon a time like the goodest, the best, such a good girl, not too loud, not too confident, not too wild, not too crazy, just a dash of sass, a dash of fashion sense, but not too much, because I don't want to upset anyone. People pleaser, perfectionist, all the things. And I found that I literally have missed out on so many opportunities in my life because I kept on playing small. I kept on shrinking myself. And ladies, you will notice this if you're not sure, like, well, I don't really know if I play small. One of the greatest ways to know is, do you find yourself constantly comparing yourself to other people and using that as the reason you don't want to show up? Well, yeah, I'm a pretty good baker, but Karen and Jasmine, they really know how to bake. Yeah, I'm a pretty good speaker, but you know, that girl, she really knows how to speak. You'll find that you compare yourself to everybody all the time. And comparison, oh my God, comparison is such a thief, because you'll never measure up, ever. Doesn't matter who it is, you will never measure up. So when it comes to playing small, one of the greatest remedies, and I share this often on the pods, one of the greatest remedies to playing small is to celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself. On the pods, I share this. At the end of the day, you are invited to write 3 wins every single day. If anybody on here, if that resonated with you and you're like, yes, I play small, for the next 30 days, and see if this doesn't change your life. For the next 30 days, write down 3 wins every single day that you want to celebrate at the end. And it could be small, like mine, where sometimes like I kept the kids alive. That's a win. I want to celebrate it. Mine was like, oh my gosh, I actually pooped without 15 kids in the bathroom. Woo, win. Like, I'm going to celebrate that. I had my dog, and my youngest, my 2-year-old, didn't eat the dog food today. Like, win. It can be anything. So many times we think a win has to be, well, today I did a live on Instagram and I got signed to the Oprah network. Like, no, it can literally be, I brushed my hair, I brushed my teeth, I got out of bed, I made my bed, I slept in bed and not on my kid's floor. That is a win. So at the end of the day, if you play small, at the end of the day, 3 wins, and I guarantee you will notice a difference. Why will you notice a difference? Somebody on here thought, because you are beginning to rewire your brain. Yes, celebrate small victories. Yes, 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 Heather. It's a game changer. It changed my life. I started celebrating small wins for 6 months, changed my life. Totally revolutionized the way I showed up and how I felt about myself. And here's the thing, when you celebrate yourself, for anybody on here who like really feels bold and you're like, man, forget this, I'm ready to show the heck up. Okay, for you, if you are really ready to show you up and like and get past playing small, I challenge you to start posting on social media and celebrating your wins. So many times we are afraid to celebrate ourselves publicly because we think somebody's gonna pop on our post and be like, you are so self-centered, or actually my cousin does that better, or yeah, that's actually not that great. We're afraid of criticism. We're afraid that someone's not gonna like it. God forbid someone doesn't like me, right? Like, we are so afraid. If you are talking about, I'm ready to be more confident, which I'm going to assume because you're in this masterclass, if you're ready to be more confident, my question to you is, at what point are you going to be sick and tired of playing small? At what point do you get sick and tired of living your life for people who don't even care? They don't care. My dog just jumped. She felt the power of my statement. They do not care. The same people that are, and I don't like to say like haters, right? So negative, but the same people that when you post and you say, oh my God, I'm so excited. Today, I actually finished a crossword puzzle. And then somebody jumps on your post, I finished 5. Or why is that a big celebration? Ooh. And you're like, oh, I guess not. Those same people, they are miserable in their lives, which is why they're on your post saying and doing foolishness. Because remember, people can only meet you as far as they've met themselves. If there is somebody in your life who is constantly hating on you and criticizing you, remember, that is how they deal with themselves. If you have, in Good Girl Rehab, we're going to be diving deep into the mother wound and why your mother wounded you. The number one reason why your mother wounded you the way she did is because she is wounded. More than likely, her mother wounded her, and her mother wounded her, and her mother wounded her. And again, we're not excusing anybody. No excuses. But what I am saying is your mother can only meet you as deeply as she has met yourself. If your mother constantly criticizes your parenting, it is because she knows she failed as a mother. That is harsh, but it is what it is, and let it land where it lands. The reason your mom is constantly criticizing the choices you make in your life, the reason she keeps disrespecting your boundaries, is because she has none in her own life. So how dare you set up boundaries? This is the story. How dare you set up boundaries when I wasn't even strong enough to set up boundaries in my life? Who do you think you are? And that manifests as anger towards you. It manifests as resentment towards you. It manifests as judgment and harsh criticism towards you. And it's simply because hurt people hurt people. We've heard that saying, hurt people hurt people. Wounded people wound people. If your mother was wounded by her mother or her aunt or whoever raised her, she is absolutely going to wound you. And sometimes you'll find, ladies, that it's not even conscious. Like sometimes some mothers I have found when I work with my clients and we like do our deep dives into inner child work, when we start digging up stuff, we find that, oh my God, this person's mom was so nice to the other sisters and brothers. And the mom was just terrible to her. And when we did a deep dive, we were like, oh my God, client, the reason she was so terrible to you is because you reminded her of herself at that age. And she was reenacting all of the criticism and judgment her mom dished out on her. And again, not an excuse, but it gives us more information to heal from. So again, if playing small is your thing, celebrate your wins, and not just that, start showing up and celebrating them publicly. Make the post. If you just finished a certification course, so you are absolutely allowed to celebrate that. If you fed your child today and you want to celebrate that, I posted posts like that where I'm like, oh my God, I fed my kids and the dog. Woo! And myself. Like triple 3 wins, because usually I have to choose who's not eating today, like who's not showering today. Let's play a game, right? So if you are able to do all that, you are, please tell me where this counts. I'm gonna say it anymore. So you absolutely are able to show up and celebrate yourself. And now, if I had a drum, I would do like a huge, huge drum roll. The number one confidence killer. Number one confidence killer is people pleasing. People pleasing. People pleasing is it's not a confidence killer. People pleasing is the number one killer of your confidence. I'm gonna hit this one, and then I'm gonna open the floor up. We can take 2 questions tonight, or if anybody wants to share their biggest win, and we'll close out that way. So the biggest killer of your confidence is people pleasing. And I want this to land for you. I created a course on Teachable because I saw the effect that people pleasing has on people in all walks of life. I have some clients that are like white collar worker people, Fortune 500 company, and stuck in people pleasing. Like people sometimes are like, oh, it's just the women. No. These are like men stuck in people pleasing, women, mothers, CEOs. This is what I have found personally and professionally. If you are somebody who struggles with people pleasing, every single time you say yes to someone when you really don't want to, you are literally saying no to your most authentic self. And this is not even like hyperbole or exaggeration. This is literal. Every single time I say yes to someone when I really don't want to do something, I am saying no to showing up as my most authentic self. Every single time. Every single time you betray yourself in the name of somebody liking you, you only remind yourself of all the reasons why you don't like yourself. The more you strive for people to like you, it is the less you like yourself. And check the cycle. The less I like myself, the more I want to be liked by people. The more I want to be liked by people, the more I try, and the more I people please. The more I people please, the less I like myself, and so on and so forth. And around we go. Every single time I chase people, every single time you sell yourself short and you chase somebody, hoping and praying to God or the universe, whatever you believe in, hoping and praying that this time I will be chosen. Please choose me, pick me. Every single time you do that, you are literally telling yourself, you don't matter. You're not worthy. I don't like you. And again, the only reason I say this with so much passion is because I lived it. I was chasing everybody. Like I was that person who was like, please, somebody like me, please. I'm so much fun. I'm so cool. Please just give me a chance. And the more I did it, the more I had people come into my life who didn't like me. And not only that, they used me. And not only that, they turned around and then said, oh, well, you're annoying. And I'm like, but was I annoying when I was giving you money? Was I annoying then? Was I annoying when you were always calling me for a ride? Was I annoying then? Right? Here's the thing. With people pleasing, you undermine your value. The more you try to prove to people that you are worthy, it is literally the more you undervalue yourself. This is the bottom line, beautiful beings. You are worthy just because. There is no degree that's going to make you more worthy. Let it land. I'm all for education. Like, I'm not throwing shade to education at all, but there is no degree in the world that's going to make you more worthy than you already are. For anybody on here who's single and you're like, I just really want to get married, and I know that this would make me worthy to have a family. There's no man or woman in the world who's going to add more value to you as a person than you already have. Let this land for you. For anybody who's like, oh, I want that relationship with my mom and my dad to be perfect, and I want them to be in my life, but they've shown me that they're toxic and they're not capable of emotionally being there for me. There is not enough love from your mother in the world to make you more worthy than you already are. Let it land for you. If it's for you, let it land. You are worthy just because you are. You are valuable just because you are. And the moment you believe it, right? The moment you believe this, the game changes. Suddenly you're not chasing people. Suddenly you're not performing. If I can just be cool enough or fun enough, maybe somebody will pick me. Suddenly you understand that, sis, you are already chosen. Like, you chose yourself. So anybody else choosing you is a bonus. Like, you feel me? Like, no, I came to the conclusion 5 years ago in 2018, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got sick and tired of chasing people. I got sick and tired of hoping somebody would choose me, hoping I'd be pretty enough, fun enough, cool enough, down enough, woke enough, spiritual enough. I got sick and tired of chasing people. And I decided, you know what? Since y'all don't want to treat me right because I'm showing you how I deserve to be treated, right? Because that's what your subconscious mind will do. You will keep attracting people into your life that prove to you what you believe about yourself. Let this land for you. I am not saying that you make people treat you bad. Not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is you absolutely attract people into your world who will confirm to you what you believe about yourself. This is science. And again, we can't go deep, but it's called a reticular activating system. And it is the gateway of information. And its only purpose in your brain, it's at the base of the brainstem. It's a bundle of fibers, nerve fibers. Its only job is to filter out information that is not important and bring to the forefront of your mind what you deem important. Reticular activating system. If you decide that yellow Mustangs are important to you, your reticular activating system will suddenly start filtering out Volkswagens and filtering out Ford and Chevy and SUVs. Your reticular activating system will be like, no, we don't care about this. And all of a sudden when you're driving, you'll be like, whoa, yellow Mustang. Whoa, yellow Mustang. There's a game we used to play that was like punch buggy, punch, yellow punch buggy, don't punch back. And you'd say, if you see that car, and all of a sudden you're seeing them all over the road. That's your reticular activating system. If you have ever been in a restaurant and it's really loud, or a party, a club, and it's like, yeah, and then all of a sudden someone's like, hey, Skyla, and you're like, wow, there's somebody here, someone call my name. In a crowd, in a club, in a restaurant, you being able to hear your tiny name in a busy, crowded, noisy room, that is the reticular activating system, because you have programmed it and told it, Skyla is important. The word Skyla is important to me. So your reticular activating system will filter out everything else to make sure you can hone in on the word Skyla. So if you have decided, ladies, that you are unworthy, this is the bottom line. If you have decided, I am unworthy, if you have, because of childhood, again, I get it. If you had a mother or a father who told you repeatedly, you're not worth anything, you're not good enough, you're only good if you can perform, you're only worthy if you do something. If you were told that as a child, it literally programmed your brain, your reticular activating system, to believe that you are not valuable. And what begins to happen with that story playing in your mind, you will continue attracting people into your world who prove to you all the reasons why you are not worthy. I have seen it personally in college, in high school, like relationships, especially college. I would be dating person after person, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, why do I just keep attracting? Why are these people so emotionally unavailable? Why won't they love me? And it's because I had a story. And the story I had told myself was, you're not worthy of being loved. Very simple. The story I had told myself is, you're not worthy of a man who is emotionally available, who's going to make space for you and hold you and see you and truly love you. So as a result, I kept attracting people, places, opportunities in my life that only reminded me I'm not worthy. So when you are people pleasing constantly and you are betraying yourself and you are reminding yourself of why you're not worthy, you are literally programming your brain to undermine your trust in yourself. You're saying that I have to say yes to these people because I don't really trust that if I'm myself, they'll like me. I have to pretend to be someone else because I don't really believe that I'm good enough, that they'll love me for me. So, solution, the remedy, one of the remedies for people pleasing, the greatest one I have found personally is learning and practicing setting boundaries. And I want you to, like, if you're writing, underline that word, practice setting boundaries. It is a practice. So many times we're like, okay, I'm going to go out to my spouse and I'm going to tell them, darn it, I'm sick and tired of you. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to set this huge, crazy boundary. And what you find is you don't have the confidence to do that because you never worked the muscle. Setting boundaries is a muscle. And I don't care what Instagram or Twitter or Pinterest, wherever the cool kids hang out, I don't know. I don't care what it says about like boundaries are hot, boundaries are for babes. I don't know. Ooh, that should be a shirt. Somebody write that down. Like boundaries, yes, that's where it's at. Here's the thing. You have to practice setting boundaries because if you go after a big game fish, if you go after this big, like a mom or a dad or a brother or a spouse that you're already uncomfortable and not confident in setting boundaries with, you're going to revert to what feels comfortable, which will be like letting them run all over you or having no boundaries. What I have found is if you practice setting boundaries, you will build your muscle. What does that look like? Well, that looks like starting with a lower risk and saying no. For me, that was like when my kid was in school. I got sick and tired of them asking me to bake cookies or bring something like every other week. I was like, wait a minute. Now I know there are not this many holidays in a year because it would be like every other week. Like today is Feather Day. Can you bring some feather cupcakes? And I'm like, all right. And tomorrow is Blue Ink Pin Week. And it's like, wait a minute. And I kept on saying, okay. And I'm scrambling, trying to get cookies and muffins and brownies. And I was like, all right, Darcel, today's the day, sister. You're going to tell her, no, you're just going to say no. And it's going to be okay. And I literally practiced and practiced and practiced. And I practiced because I felt bad. I didn't want to be like a bad mom, bad parent by going to the mall. And when you walk down the food court and the people are like, hey, would you like some gumbo, jambalaya sample? And you have, I used to be like, okay. I literally started saying no. Small. So that's like a low risk. Would you like gumbo? No, thank you. Would you like some Philly cheesesteak samples? No, thank you. Would you like a spritz of this Calvin Klein perfume? No, thank you. And it sounds silly, but literally this is how you build your muscle. This is how you start saying no to people. When your friend texts you, hey girl, hey, you want to grab Starbucks? And you literally just washed your hair or you're tired. Say no. Start saying no in smaller ways, and then you'll be ready when your mom calls you and wants to get into your business and wants to interject her advice in your finances or your marriage or your singleness. Now you're ready to set the boundary and say, actually, mom, I appreciate you being concerned with that, but I really don't feel comfortable going there. Or actually, mom, I appreciate you bringing that here to the space. However, I've already thought about it and I made my mind up. The more you practice saying it, the easier it gets. Why? Because you're programming your brain. So, recap, 3 of the greatest confidence killers: perfectionism and the remedy. Try something new that you're not great at, but you're passionate about. Number 2, playing small. The remedy, take some action, celebrate your win. Celebrate your win. And if you're big and bad, do it publicly. Lastly, people pleasing. And the remedy, practice setting boundaries.